Hey there, I'm McCade, and this is going to be my first cataloging of my entire Blu-ray library, which is something that I'm kind of excited to do. Meaning to do it for a little bit here, but my collection has kind of just gotten big enough to where I feel like it's worth talking about. I'm just going to go kind of film by film, not going to go too in-depth, but talk a little bit about what I like, maybe what I don't like. Some of them I haven't seen. But this is mostly just for me to catalog these things so I can come back and see how my collection's changed over the years in the future. But if you're finding this channel and you're coming along for the ride, then that's awesome. Welcome, and glad to have you here. Hopefully you find some inspiration and go find some of these movies to watch for yourself, because quite frankly, I wouldn't have seen most of these great movies had they not been recommended to me by friends, family, or particularly my roommate, who's been a great deal of inspiration for me getting into film and whatnot. So, all right, without further ado, I'm going to get into it here, and I'm just looking at my insane stack here. I actually have 5 shelves worth here, so hopefully I can get through this kind of quick. I'm going to start with all of my Criterion Collection Blu-rays, which are classified as boutique Blu-rays, so they're a little bit more expensive, but I think they're worth it. I enjoy collecting them and paying for a little bit extra for the hard copy of like films that I particularly enjoy. So my Criterions are all going to go in order of spine number in the collection, so from earliest in the collection to latest. And then once I move into the regular Blu-rays, it's going to go alphabetical order by title. So here we go, shall we? Number 1 here, Time Bandits by Terry Gilliam. This is number 37 in the Criterion Collection, and it is... Gosh, I don't know what to say about this movie. It's beautiful. It's a childhood memory of mine, a very fond one. I got this on a little disc that I would play on a PlayStation Portable back when I was really little. I used to have all these movies that I would get from a $5 bin, or that my parents would pick out for me. And this was one of them, and I remember watching this when I was a kid, and a lot of the things in it kind of went right over my head. I was just kind of in it for the cool effects and whatnot, which are amazing, and they're mostly practical. They all hold up, which Terry Gilliam is amazing with, and yeah, some cool special features on here. I just also think it's a gorgeous box here. Apologize for all the glare. But yeah, number 1. Second up here is another Terry Gilliam movie, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Another great one. This has got Johnny Depp and Benicio del Toro doing their thing. It's based on Hunter S. Thompson, sort of an autobiographical story of his life, but with a lot of, flourishes here and there. But yeah, it's basically about a nightmare drug trip through Las Vegas that these two guys go on. Maybe not nightmarish, but a little bit. Little unsettling for sure. It's been a bit since I've seen this, so I'm kind of excited to watch it again. Just picked it up on Criterion here. Gotta make some room here for the stacks. Alright. Oh, and by the way, that was number 175 in the collection. Next up, Life Aquatic, Steve Zissou. Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. This is number 300, even, in the collection. A Wes Anderson movie, I think one of his earlier films. A lot of people don't like this one. It's definitely not his strongest film, but I enjoy it. I really like this movie. I like the characters. I think it's cute. I love the locations. The shots are gorgeous. It's quirky, Wes Anderson. Love the soundtrack to this. Also, I think this was kind of the beginning of some of the stop motion stuff that he did that he'd later come back to in some other movies that we'll get to. But yeah, fantastic. Or no, sorry, Life Aquatic. Wes Anderson. Oh man, La Haine. One of my absolute favorite movies of all time. This is fantastic. My roommate, shout out to him, told me to watch this. I think he watched it with me, actually, and we've probably seen it together now maybe 3 times. It's number 381. Let's see. Doesn't really want to focus there. Number 381 in the collection. Wow. So much to say about this. It's a beautiful, beautiful French film about 3 kind of disillusioned guys, young guys living in a Paris suburb that's kind of seedy, and there's just been this huge riot in the city where one of their friends was essentially beaten by the police to like a coma. They're not sure if he's going to live or die, essentially. And one of the 3 guys finds a handgun, like a little .38 revolver, I believe, which in France is a much bigger deal than it is here in the States. So, very awesome movie. Every shot in this is beautiful. It's like a film school, and it's just so much style. You could watch this back to back to back to back to back. Love that movie. Some hilarious scenes in it, too. Let's see. Oh my god. Okay. Houseu. I got this because Bill Hader was in the Criterion closet. I love him, and he immediately picked this out. He was wearing like a shirt with the cover. I mean, the cover of this is amazing. One of the coolest in the collection, I think. This is a Japanese movie, number 539 in the collection. Gosh, this is like a drug trip as well, kind of like Fear and Loathing, but more experimental and just kind of like silly. I was expecting it to be a lot more kind of disturbing with this cover. Don't go into it thinking it's going to be like a disturbing ride. It's very wacky, very off the wall and crazy, but so much fun. Have a couple beers, have some friends over, tell them that this is going to be a crazy ride, and watch House. Guaranteed good times. Oh, next, I just watched this one. I just picked it up, actually, on the Criterion flash sale. Blowout with John Travolta. It's a Brian De Palma movie, number 562 in the collection. John Travolta is like a young audio guy in the movie industry, and this is like in the 80s? Yeah, 81, so early 80s. He's like a sound editor, so you get kind of that behind the scenes look at the film industry. Lots of cool tech with the film back then, where he's splicing things together, and he eventually thinks that he records a political assassination, essentially. And the story kind of unfolds from there, interestingly, and takes a hard left turn at the end. I definitely need to rewatch this, but the end is, like, very dark, out of left field. So I need to rewatch this. Great movie. Really good one. I think the only De Palma movie I've seen, too. 12 Angry Men. This is one of those Criterion films that everyone says you just kind of have to own. It is number 591 in the collection. And, gosh, a Sidney Lumet movie, 1957, black and white, kind of courtroom procedural. There's a young kid who's accused of a crime, and these 12 members of the jury go into the jury room to, decide, make their decision, essentially, and the whole film takes place, kind of famously, in the one room. Man, I don't know what to say about this. It's not a very long film. It's kind of a nice short watch, expertly done, great performances all around. Definitely one of the older movies I have in my collection, which I'm looking to get more into older film, and this was a great kind of entry point, I think, because 12 Angry Men is fantastic. Watch this. clear the throat here. Okay, moving right along. The Game. Number 627. This is also like the darkest case in the collection. You can barely read the spine there. Computer was wigging out there. But very cool movie. David Fincher, who, you know, I'm a big fan of. I really liked The Social Network, Seven. I mean, most of his things are fantastic. Really, really cool movie. Michael Douglas, good performance. Lots of weird twists and turns. Only thing I didn't love about this was the ending. It kind of didn't stick the landing for me, but I'm willing to go with it because the rest of the movie is so awesome. And it's definitely worth a watch. Okay. Yes, Following by Christopher Nolan. One of my favorite directors. He's kind of, you know, he has his own style, which some people criticize, but I love it. I love Memento. I love Inception. I saw Tenet, I think, 4 times in theaters. Social distancing appropriately, you know, being very safe. Yeah, I'm definitely a Nolan fanboy. This is his first film. I don't like it as much as Memento, but it's definitely worth the watch. It's a really good film. It's really short. It's like just over an hour. Yeah, an hour and 10 minutes. Kind of a black and white noir with intrigue and lots of hints of what Nolan will do in the future. So really, really cool. Especially the Memento. There's a lot of like Memento stuff in this. So if you're a fan of Nolan, worth the watch for sure. Lots of intrigue. And it's about a writer who's kind of following people around for inspiration, which I like to write. I fancy myself a writer, so I could connect to that. Oh yeah, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Another Wes Anderson. Same as The Life Aquatic here. I think I have like 4 of his movies. I'm a really big Wes Anderson fan. Very esoteric. This is based on a Roald Dahl poem, I believe, or children's story, not a poem. But this is, I think, his first full stop-motion animation film, and it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous animation. He did the story justice, in my opinion, and great performances all around. George Clooney, Willem Dafoe, awesome. And then Bill Murray's in everything he does. So this is kind of a turning point for Wes Anderson. Like, everything after this had a very distinct style. This is kind of like, I think, where he found his voice fully, came into his eccentric Wes Anderson niche here. Fantastic Mr. Fox, number 700 in the collection. I might have missed some of the spine numbers here. I think I did for Following, but I don't know how much you guys are going to care, if anyone else is even watching here. Moonrise Kingdom, another Wes Anderson joint. 776 in the collection. I still have like partial wrapping on that. There's a little alarm going off in the background. Hopefully that doesn't continue. But yeah, another Wes Anderson movie. Probably his like most endearing movie. It's been a while since I've seen this, so that's why I picked it up on Criterion during their flash sale. Excited to rewatch it. Gorgeous packaging too. All these like kind of box sets that Criterion do are gorgeous, and they come with a lot of cool information, character slides and whatnot. And then Criterion usually gets you a commentary, which is what I go in for. But gorgeous movie, can't wait to rewatch this. It hath been too long. Mulholland Drive. I haven't even taken this out of the wrapping yet. I've seen it many, many times. I took film classes back in college, and one of the classes that I took was a David Lynch and Slavoj Žižek class, which, if you know who Slavoj Žižek is a Slovenian philosopher, Marxist philosopher, who has some very interesting thoughts on film. Interesting thoughts on everything, actually, but check out Slavoj Žižek's Pervert's Guide to Cinema. It's amazing. But anyway, this film class, we watched most of David Lynch's movies. I'm not sure if we got through all of them, but yeah, this was, I think, the first one we watched, and it's still my favorite David Lynch movie. It's just, like, engrossing from start to finish, if that makes sense. Like, I get sucked in every time. Great performances all around. The cowboy. Like, there's so much awesome stuff in this. God, the diner scene still haunts me. Still, David Lynch haunts my dreams. Great movie. If you haven't seen this, go out and watch it immediately. It'll change your views on movies, I think. If you're anything like me, anyways. Oh, it's $7.79 in the collection. I might just stop doing the spine numbers. You're just going to have to trust me that they're in order. I'm very OCD about that. Blood Simple. Coen Brothers. Same guys who did, gosh, they've done so much. Big Lebowski, Fargo, No Country for Old Men, which is one of my favorites of all time. We'll get to that later. This is a lot like No Country for Old Men. If you like, and Inside Llewyn Davis they did as well, amazing. On the collection as well, but I don't have that one yet. This is kind of like a prototype No Country for Old Men in some ways. Like, watching this, I could see a lot of things that they would like come back and do again later, and maybe a little better. But it's cool to have this, cool to see like their beginnings, and it's just a interesting kind of crime film, I guess, western, neo-western, set in Texas, with some intrigue. It's a good film, good watch. Check it out. Number 834 in the collection. Take a drink here. Sponsored by McDonald's. Not really, but hey, if you want to sponsor me, I'll take it. Yes, Pan's Labyrinth. A lot of people have seen this because it's amazing. If you haven't seen this, what are you doing? Guillermo del Toro, Spanish director. The film's in Spanish. It's kind of a dark fairy tale. Special effects, or practical effects rather, in this movie are some of the best, maybe of all time. Guillermo del Toro just knows how to make the weirdest creatures and kind of fairy tale stuff. So, great movie, great movie about this girl's very dark journey. Check this out if you haven't seen it. I haven't even opened mine yet. I haven't seen this in a while, actually, either. I'm due for a rewatch. And I wanted so bad the Guillermo del Toro trilogy, which comes with Kronos and The Devil's Backbone, as well as Pan's Labyrinth. But unfortunately, the Blu-ray for that is out of print right now. So hats off to you guys who got in on that. I am coming around a little later, so just picked up Pan's Labyrinth. Number 838. 838? Yeah, 838. Hey, okay, so Y Tu Mama Tambien. This one's special to me because it was the first Criterion movie I ever got. It was a gift from my roommate, who, as I told you, kind of is responsible for getting me into the Criterion collection. I was kind of already into film. I took those film classes back in college. And then I took kind of a hiatus from film, I guess, and then have just recently been rediscovering my love for it, building up my collection, and specifically getting into the Criterion collection. So this is my first Blu-ray that I ever owned on the collection. It's number 723. Gorgeous box set, by the way. This one's like really big, which is kind of funny because it's not a huge movie, but in like scope or anything. But gorgeous box set, gorgeous movie. It's shot beautifully. Alfonso Cuarón with his buddy Emmanuel Lubezki, I think, is his cinematographer. Right? Yep. Emmanuel Lubezki. These two guys are a powerhouse. You like any movie that these two are on, and we'll come to, I think, at least another one or two. they're gorgeous, and this one is no exception. I think this is maybe his first film. It's definitely earlier on. He would go on to direct Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, most famously, perhaps, which is why that's one of the best in the series, I'd say. I don't remember if he got Lubezki in on that, but that film is beautifully shot. I think it probably would be Lubezki. Anyways, this is a movie set in Mexico. It's in Spanish, and it's about these two friends who go on sort of a weird coming-of-age road trip with this sexy love interest woman of their friend, who they each end up developing feelings for her, and she kind of develops feelings for both of them, and they have, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's sort of a relationship film, but on a small scale, and also a Mexican road trip film, which is beautifully shot. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Underrated, I would say, for sure. These guys are amazing. Punch Drunk Love, Wes Anderson. Sorry, not Wes Anderson. Paul Thomas Anderson. Not this one, Wes. I think this is Paul Thomas Anderson's only movie in the collection. It definitely is, which is a war crime. He deserves some more in there. But this is still a great movie. It's definitely worth owning. It's got to be one of Sandler's best performances, if not his best performance. It's probably my favorite of his, anyways. It's a love movie, you know, a romance film, but kind of told through this weird kind of lens that PTA is so known for. And he gets an amazing, amazing performance out of Sandler. This is number 843 in the collection. And maybe a Superman allegory? If you poke around online, there's some interesting theories. Also, Philip Seymour Hoffman is in this, and he's amazing. Rest in peace. Great movie. Really quirky, kind of dark, and romantic. Good watch. Watch this with your girlfriend or boyfriend. Or wife, or husband, you know, whatever. Or partner, whatever's going on here. We're all inclusive. Election. I had to look in the lens here because I hadn't actually looked at it. So I just picked this one up, haven't watched it yet. Alexander Payne movie. It's got Matthew Broderick, who I love, Ferris Bueller, and Reese Witherspoon. And I think Broderick he's a social studies teacher in this. I'm a substitute teacher who I'm normally in social studies and that kind of stuff. So sounded really interesting to me. I guess Reese Witherspoon is kind of goofy, and she's running for class president. So yeah, blind buy for me. I found it at Barnes & Noble on their 50% off sale for November, and I just love the case. I've heard really good things about this, so excited to watch it. It's number 904. Gotta find a way to get it focused on that. Well, anyway, 904. Believe me. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the first stack, and we are 23 minutes in, so I'm going to have to up the pace here a little bit. I've been going maybe a little too much into the movies. I love them, so bear with me. We got, looks like 5 more Criterion films to get through here, and then it's on to the regular Blu-rays, so. Dead Man, Jim Jarmusch. I just picked this up, also at Barnes & Noble. It was half off. You know, you have to get Criterions when they're half off because they're pretty dang spendy if they're spendy even when they are half off. So anyway, black and white, kind of like noir western from what I understand. Johnny Depp just sounds really interesting to me. It was one that I saw at Barnes & Noble the first day I went there, didn't get it, and then came back 2 days later, and I was like, if they still have Dead Man, I'm going to pick that up. So this is definitely high on the watch list right now. Sounds really, really interesting. Dead Man, number 919. Take another drink, sponsored by McDonald's. If you made it this far in, leave your favorite McDonald's beverage in the comment section below. That's how I'll know that you're a real fan here, or a real film buff anyways. Bowling for Columbine. Also just picked this one up from Barnes & Noble. This is number 928 in the collection. It's a Michael Moore documentary. Michael Moore, the sad thing is it's not his best film. I don't think so anyways. I liked Fahrenheit 11/9 and Sicko a lot. But this one's good. It deals with America's gun obsession, which is sort of a problem. And, he's definitely partisan. He has his flaws for sure. But still an important movie. It's his only one on the collection, and I'm somewhat of a fan, even though I'm still critical. So figured I might as well own his only film in the collection. But Criterion, if you're listening, please try to get Fahrenheit 11/9 or Sicko would probably be better. Sicko would really fit, I think. And you already got Michael Moore in here, so may as well diversify. Make some room for the stack. Sorry, leaning off screen here. Okay, I don't know if I said it. 928 in the collection. Bowling for Columbine. 1984. Got this on the Criterion. No, I got this at Barnes & Noble as well. Yeah. So, amazing dystopian film. It's so influential. This is like the granddaddy of all modern dystopian movies. A lot of V for Vendetta stuff is pulled out of it. I'm a huge V for Vendetta fan. I have the Absolute Edition in the other room, which if that's something you guys would be interested in seeing, might end up making a video on that, or even for my own record. But anyway, 1984, funny enough, cool enough, they made it 984 in the collection. Like I said, kind of the granddaddy of all dystopian films. It's really depressing. And starring John Hurt, who's amazing. He also just passed away fairly recently. Rest in peace, John Hurt. But anyway, yeah, this is kind of the daddy of them all. And John Hurt would go on to play Adam Sutler in the film V for Vendetta, which is kind of a cool link between the two. If you haven't seen it, it's worth checking out, Shouldn't be the first on your list, because it's not a fun watch, I wouldn't say, but if you like punishing movies, check it out. Number 984. Getting down there on the Criterions. The Grand Budapest Hotel, one of the best box arts, appropriately, because this film is gorgeous. It's another Wes Anderson film, and kind of the pinnacle, I'd say, of his symmetry and just perfectionism. But this movie is almost like a cake, a little treat, which there are many in the film as well. And the box, I think, reflects that for the Criterion collection here. It's absolutely a beautiful box here. Only thing I don't like about it is the back info sheet is like a slip-off, which normally isn't the case on their box sets. It's got really pretty back art, so I kind of want to take this thing off and just get it out of the way, but it has all the pertinent info, so I'll keep it on there for now. Might change my mind later. Beautiful, beautiful movie. Great performances all the way around. Ray Fiennes, Adrian Brody, Harvey Keitel, Ed Norton, Willem Dafoe, and I'm missing a million people. Saoirse Ronan, blanking on this guy's name. Jeff Goldblum, amazing performance by Jeff Goldblum in this. Please check this out if you haven't seen it. This should maybe even be your first Wes Anderson film if you haven't seen one. I love this movie. Check it out. All right, last Criterion film here. Marriage Story. Just picked it up from Barnesy Up Your Noble, and yeah, it's just a really, really interesting kind of focus on, or like, yeah, telling of a marriage that's falling apart, but done in a really loving way, I'd say. Noah Baumbach is kind of known for his excellent writing, but really good character writing, I'd say, and it's really on display in this movie. I mean, Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson, there we go, are phenomenal. Like, I 100% bought that they were in a relationship, and having, gone through, like, relationship separations before, this is very relatable. I think most people will see this and be able to relate to something in here. Beautiful, beautiful story about love, and also what happens when love kind of falls apart, which it does, It's real. Sometimes. Not all the time. Don't get too down. But awesome movie. Ray Liotta's amazing in this. Laura Dern's amazing in this as the lawyers. There's this like lawyer battle scene between the two of them that's just amazing. Please check this movie out if you haven't seen it. It's beautiful. Noah Baumbach's great. And he's also on the commentary for a lot of Wes Anderson's movies. So I guess the two of them must be friends. I know they've worked together a lot. So yeah, Marriage Story. Last one in my Criterion collection, number 1038. You really can't see that one. 1038. And I got 4 more Criterions on the way from Barnes & Noble online. Those have just been taking an extreme amount of time, but I've got Come and See. Let's see, what else? The Thin Red Line. I'm forgetting the other ones. I've been in a swamp of Criterion films lately. Oh, Parasite, and one other one. But yeah, I might be adding those to the collection here soon. Maybe make a video covering those. I'm not going to do a full collection video for another while here, because if I did one every time I added Blu-rays, it would be a video every other day or so. But yeah, no. So I might do like focus on individual films, like little kind of highlights. Sounds kind of interesting to me. So maybe look forward to that in the future. But yeah, let's get into the regular Blu-rays here. Stop yapping. 1917. Sam Mendes movie. Pretty cool war movie. World War One. And it's, famously, I think this is also, no, it's not Lubezki. It's, who was the cinematographer? Roger Deakins, that's right. Yeah, Roger Deakins and Sam Mendes worked together. And it's a gorgeous film. It's made to look like one shot, famously. Even though, there's kind of fudges on that here and there. Just a really beautiful experience of a movie, I'd say. It's just a fun watch. Definitely some dark parts in there, but just a good war film, and it's beautiful. All one shot, or so it would seem. Kind of like Birdman, if you've seen that, but Birdman was, I think, done better. I like that movie a little bit more. Guilty Pleasure movie 21 here. Not a great movie, but God, is it fun. I love this movie. I like Blackjack. You got Kevin Spacey in here. It's very, like, early 2000s, even though I don't even know when this came out. I'm assuming, like, 2002, something like that. But really fun movie, especially if you like Blackjack. I mean, if you don't like cards, then you're not going to care for this movie. I got it for, like, $4, at a little thrift store, so fun one to watch, especially if you kind of just want something you can not really pay attention to and just throw on. Check out 21. The Accountant. I don't think I've ever seen this. It was a gift from my parents. Thanks, guys. No, I'll get around to watching it. I've heard good things, but I'm just not a huge Ben Affleck fan. So it's taken me a bit. It's just kind of been sitting in my library. But yeah, if you guys have seen this movie and it's a masterpiece or something, I just missed the boat on that, then I'll probably find out later. But The Accountant. And there's going to be a fair few of these that I just haven't seen, so forewarned on that. But I think the vast majority I have seen, so. Annihilation. Pretty cool movie. Natalie Portman is a good actor. And yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of like, I haven't seen Stalker yet, but seems sort of like the same premise as Stalker, where there's sort of this zone that shows up. I think this is in like Louisiana in this case, and no one really understands it. It seems like the laws of physics there don't really apply, or the laws of nature really, and things are distorted. And Natalie Portman is part of a group of scientists who goes in to check it out. Things get real freaky in this movie. There's a scene with, I don't really want to spoil it, but with a creature that gives me shivers every single time. I sometimes just pull that scene up on YouTube to watch. Very creepy, disturbing, cerebral, kind of horror, sci-fi horror. More sci-fi than horror, I'd say, but definitely some dark twists in here. So check it out. Good performances. Oscar Isaac's good. Arrival by Denis Villeneuve, who I recently found out is not French. He's French-Canadian, so I thought he was full-on French, but he's from our brothers up north here. So really cool movie, probably one of the cooler alien invasion movies, I'd say. It's really character focused on Amy Adams' character, and a lot of it's told through like the lens of language too, and like learning how to communicate with the aliens, because they're not in this movie. They're not here to destroy necessarily. Their ships just kind of show up. I think like 8 of them or something around the world, and no one knows why they're there. They don't really come out or anything. So Amy Adams is part of a group of scientists who goes into the ships to make contact. She's a linguist, which I fancy myself a linguist too. I majored in English, and I just appreciate the focus on language in this film, and how it really is the basis of like communication. Well, obviously, but human interaction. I guess everything is rooted through language, and if you don't have that, how do you establish communication, especially when something is so alien, if it's just another human language, we have ways to work around that, but this is really interesting. Great performances all around. Denis Villeneuve is one of my favorite directors working today, and check this out if you haven't. Big Lebowski. I'm going to try to step up the pace here, get through some of these. Big Lebowski, Coen Brothers, same guys who did Blood Simple, Fargo, No Country for Old Men, such. These guys are legends. There's not much else to say. This is the only, I think, straight up 4K Blu-ray that I have, because I got it before I realized that I have a 4K TV, but my Xbox One doesn't play 4K discs, so maybe waiting to get a 4K player here. But it comes with the regular Blu-ray too, so it's fine for now. And it was the cool 40th edition box, which I really wanted, so didn't really mind paying a little extra. It was on sale too, so great movie. Awesome, like legendary performances, legendary scenes, so quotable. God, Steve Buscemi is awesome. I mean, the dude abides, man. Watch this movie for sure. Jeff Bridges. Shout out to the Lebowski Bar in Reykjavik, Iceland, too. Place is awesome. Go get yourself a White Russian there. Harrison Ford in Blade Runner, the original. Although this is the final cut. I haven't opened this and watched it yet. Actually, Denis Villeneuve would go on to direct Blade Runner 2049, which is fantastic. Like I said, I haven't opened this. It's been a long, long time since I've watched it, so I'm going to have to check it out. Ridley Scott movie. And I think that the final cut is the one without the voiceover. I'm really hoping it is. I didn't do any research because this was like in the $5 bin, so I just picked it up. I'm really hoping this is the one without Harrison's like dialogue over the top of it, because that just like killed it for me when I first watched the movie. So awesome, very influential sci-fi. Like the world in this, I think it was set in like 2014 or something like that, right? I wish, well, no, God, I don't wish we had this world, but I wish we had some of the aspects of their world. Mostly, it doesn't look like a cool place, but cool movie, check it out. If you can get it on 4K, I've heard that it looks amazing on 4K upscaled, so get that if you can. Blue Ruin, one of my favorite movies of recent memory. Jeremy Saulnier, fantastic director, underrated director in my mind. This is just a really cool revenge movie that doesn't go the way that most revenge stories go at all. It's basically a revenge story with an incompetent protagonist, essentially, who has great motivation for his revenge, but man, it's makes for an excellent ride. Really cool movie. I think it's on Netflix right now, so if you want to check on that, go for it. But they take stuff off all the time, so that's why I own it on Blu-ray. Check it out. This guy's movies are awesome, and I think we'll be coming to another one here in a bit. Okay, here we go. I'm going to count these as 3 here. So, Bourne Identity, Supremacy, and Ultimatum here. The Bourne Trilogy, which I bought in like a box set. Very, very cool, like international spy stories, but in the same vein as James Bond, I guess, but I think a lot cooler. It's a lot like grittier. I remember seeing these growing up, and I thought, I've traveled a lot, so like I've been to some of the locations that they go to, like Rome. Are they in Rome? Actually, come to think of it. No, I'm not remembering, but Berlin and places like that, Germany anyways, and Austria and whatnot. So I was really connecting to him in these stories. And the first one is an awesome intro movie, very full of intrigue, fun to watch, really holds up, I think. The chases in this series are amazing. 1 is really good. 2 is not bad, for sure, but I didn't find it as compelling as the first one. It kind of lulls down. And then 3 is amazing. It really picks up and puts a really nice button on this trilogy. And I do... There's one Bourne movie that we won't speak about, but I do own Jason Bourne as well that we'll get to later. Kind of the 4th follow-up on this trilogy, the 4th... What I'll say is the 4th in the series. And it's not bad either, but not really necessary, I wouldn't say. So definitely check these out if you haven't. I mean, my God, this is like fundamental for me. Like, these were part of my early film intrigue. So, the Bourne Trilogy. Yeah, Captain Phillips. Saw this movie once, found it for $3.99 at a local store, and actually, it wasn't a local store, I was over in Seattle. Good performances. Tom Hanks is really convincing in this, especially like some of the PTSD that he shows later on. Some really good acting. It's based on a true story. Mostly just got it because it was really cheap, and it was a movie they had that I knew, so... yeah, check it out if you want. It's by Paul Greengrass. Funny enough, it even says, by the director of the Bourne Ultimatum, Paul Greengrass. I think he only did the second 2 Bourne movies in the original trilogy. But good movie, check it out. Definitely not like on the top of the list, but it's not bad. Casablanca, haven't seen it. It's unopened. it was $5, and I know I should see it, and I will. It's definitely on the list. You know, it's an iconic, legendary Hollywood movie. I'll get to it. Just not now. Casino Royale, my favorite of the Daniel Craig Bond movies. A lot of cool globe-trotting. Venice at the end, very cool. The actual casino itself in Monaco, I believe, is where that is. Yeah, definitely my favorite of the new Bond movies. And the first one, Mads Mikkelsen's great. That's right. Just a really fun movie, beginning to end. It's got the complete story too, which I like. Like, it has the complete arc, I feel like. So it's very satisfying to watch, which the others in Craig's Bond career haven't necessarily captured that for me. And again, poker, common theme. You'll see I like poker, I like cards, so you'll notice a couple of card movies here. So Casino Royale, although this is not really a card movie, it's a little bit of it. So great performances. I really want the chair that Daniel Craig gets in that movie. He has a really cool chair at one point. Children of Men. Oh my gosh. This is Emmanuel Lubezki, the cinematographer, and Alfonso Cuarón again. Same guys who did Y Tu Mama Tambien and Prisoner of Azkaban. This is I was just about to throw it out there. I would say the best of their careers here. See this film if you have not seen it. This is essential. Like, essential. If I could teach a film class, this would definitely be in there. It's in my top 10 movies of all time, hands down. Brilliantly shot, so much fun. What a bleak vision of the future, but at the same time, such a realistic one, you know? And especially right now, it's kind of eerie to watch. It's weird. Kind of like V for Vendetta, very like pertinent right now. But there are some shots in this, courtesy of Lubezki, that are so gorgeous. You know, famously the really long one take in the car, and a lot of just like kind of the drifting camera work that he's been so famous for. He carved out a niche in. There's some great videos on YouTube too. I might put a link in to some of the essays that talk about this and how the camera work is so important to it. It'll like drift off of Clive Owen's character and like show things that he's not paying attention to, but that like adds so much to the world building. Dystopian future where like humanity's basically gone sterile and can't reproduce anymore. So there hasn't been any new babies born in, I think, like 18 years at the beginning of this movie. So they're like all at the very beginning mourning the death of the world's youngest person who was like 18 years old. And it's such a crazy intro to this movie. Like, if the intro to this film doesn't get you hooked in the first like 60 seconds, I don't know what to tell you. You're probably not human. Watch this movie. Chronicle. I got it in Seattle, which is awesome because it's set there. I got it at that same shop where I found all these really cheap ones. It was another one that I was like, hey, I know that movie. But this is actually a good one. I enjoy this. You know, it's not like it's not going to win the Palme d'Or, or it didn't that year, but especially if you live in the Northwest, you know, it's kind of extra cool that it's in Seattle, but also just telekinesis. I mean, who doesn't want telekinesis? Do I need to sell you any more than that? The effects are awesome. They do pretty much anything that you would think to do if you had telekinesis with your high school buddies just goofing around. And yes, they do fly, because you can pick yourself up with telekinesis and sort of just hold yourself floating through the air, which I think they're probably the first kind of people to address that, but it gives me ideas for D&D. And with that, we're through 2 stacks out of 5, and we're at the 50-minute mark. So doing not as quick as I was hoping for, but hopefully that's not too much of a problem. So, moving on. Collateral. Got this because of Chris Stuckmann's review. I might link that down below too if you're interested. Everything he says about this movie I find to be true. It's a very cool, like, LA nightlife movie. I don't like LA. I've been there plenty of times. Sorry to throw shade at anyone who's from LA, but just not my kind of place, you know? I like cooler weather. I like the rain up here in the Northwest. Anyway, my point was this movie makes me like LA. Such a cool, like, LA nightlife movie. And Tom Cruise is a, like, silver fox, like, gray-haired hitman in this who, yes, he does have an epic sprinting scene, if not more than one, but one that's coming to mind right now. Jamie Foxx is in this, Jada Pinkett Smith. Maybe one of Tom Cruise's, like, only bad guys that I can think of. But, yeah, really cool, fun movie, you know. It's about Jamie Foxx. He's a cabbie having a really, really bad night. Worth the watch. Check it out if you haven't. Dark Knight Trilogy. Christopher Nolan again. Same guy who did Memento, Inception, Tenet, and the following on Criterion. I found this box set that comes with all three of the Blu-rays, and it was like on sale for what, $12, $13, and I was like, oh, well, guess I'm getting that, because great trilogy. Comes with this cool little, like, note from Nolan too about how he hopes he did the series justice, essentially, which he did. I think Siri thought I was talking to her. But yeah, monumental comic book movie, if you can even call it that. It was kind of maybe the first time that we saw such a dark interpretation of definitely Batman. I think most superhero genre stuff. Man, the first one's a little weaker than the other two, but it's still really good. Second one is incredible with Heath Ledger. Last performance, I think, of his life, unfortunately, and man, what a performance. And then the third one is fun. You got Tom Hardy and Ben Mendelsohn and all these great people. Lots of fun. Great trilogy. If you're a fan of Batman, even if you're not a fan of Batman, these are just cool, like, almost crime or like neo-noir films in a way, but done big and high concept, high budget by Nolan, of course. So yeah, Nolan didn't start out like that, but he's definitely become known for that. If you've seen Tenet, you definitely know. Inception too. It's very high concept. Bruce Willis, Die Hard. Perhaps the best Christmas movie of all time. I haven't actually opened this copy. I'm waiting for this Christmas. It's November right now. So I'll pop it in and rewatch it then. Don't really have much to say about this that hasn't already been said a million times. It's a great action movie. One of the best. Bruce Willis. Legend. Absolute legend. Just, if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Watch it. Find a way to watch it. You see I'm picking up the pace here a little bit. Django Unchained. I think first Tarantino movie we've come to. I don't have all of his movies, but I am a huge Tarantino fan. Great cast. I would say his best... Ooh, no, I was going to say his best Western, but Hateful Eight's really good. But anyway, great fun revenge movie. Leonardo DiCaprio is insane in this movie. Really dark, channeling some twisted stuff. And he cut his hand. He deserves an Oscar for that alone. And you got Christoph Waltz, who I love, Austrian actor, Entschuldigung. And you got, Jamie Foxx, again, straight out of Collateral, doing some fun stuff here. Really, really, really fun stuff. Great movie, really fun revenge, lots of good action, lots of gore, as Tarantino's famous for. Please check this out if you haven't seen it. Drive. Steelbook. I kind of wish I hadn't got Steelbook, but at the same time, this art is pretty cool. The only reason I don't want it is because, again, no back information on here. It had one of those stupid sleeves that just is loose on the back, so I don't know what the designers of those are thinking, but you gotta figure out a way to print it just like into the metal if you can. That would be really nice. Nicholas Winding Refn, Danish director. Love all of his stuff. Only God Forgives is great. I love The Neon Demon. I don't have either of those, but this is probably his most accessible movie, I would say. And it's a great one. It's just a great kind of action movie with a retro 80s aesthetic and soundtrack. Kind of started that whole 80s synthwave redux that's been happening, I think. But lots of cool stuff in here. Good performances. The opening, 10 minutes are probably, the best of the whole movie, I'd say. But still really fun. Bryan Cranston's awesome in this, too. Drive. Dune. David Lynch's Dune. Denis Villeneuve is doing a update on this. That was supposed to come out next month, but it's actually looking like it's going to be next year now because of COVID. David Lynch hates this movie notoriously, disowns it. He tried to get his name removed from all the marketing, which it's still on here, baby. Can't remove that. So yeah, something's cut too deep. I mean, it's not that bad. It's goofy and the effects are terrible now, but it's such a fun watch. It's if you have some friends over and you just want to have a couple beers and watch a fun movie that you again don't have to pay super close attention to, watch this. It's awesome. Kyle MacLachlan, also longtime a collaborator with David Lynch. He's in a lot of his stuff as Paul Atreides. Amazing. I don't know what else to say. And Sting, too. Play me out. If you got that reference, you're an OG. Yeah, great movie. Well, I shouldn't say great. Not a great movie. Very flawed, but a fun watch, for sure. If there's some alcohol involved. Better time. Elysium, sort of in the same camp, I think. It's a Neil Blomkamp. It's the only one of his that I own for some reason. I think it's my least favorite of his three. I don't know. District 9 is definitely his best, but this is not bad, actually. It's not as bad as people say it is, anyways. Was it Jodie Foster, right? Yeah, she is a little wooden in this, but she's still a good actress. Actor, I gotta remember. I guess it doesn't really matter. Actor, actress. They're neutral. Sharlto Copley, that's right. He's in all of Blomkamp's movies. I love him, honestly. I wish he was the main character of this instead of Matt Damon. But, Damon does a good job. Really interesting concept in this. I mean, it's very on the nose. Blomkamp kind of tends to be... District 9 was a little more forgiving. This is, pretty much, on the nose. But still, I appreciate it. I love the visuals. That's... Blomkamp's best thing is his visuals, which I've heard kind of suck for the people involved because they have to do some really tough methods of animating the things because Blomkamp likes to have it, from what I understand, done a lot authentically, but then have people add the effects, the animations in by hand afterwards. So it seems to be more labor intensive, but whatever they're doing, it works because his movies look amazing. So running low on my soda. Enemy, Denis Villeneuve. Again, the master, the modern master. This movie's amazing. You got Jake Gyllenhaal and Jake Gyllenhaal in this. And they're both great. And it's an A24 movie with a lot of intrigue. A lot of weird imagery. God, I don't even know what to say about this. If you're terrified of spiders, you might not want to watch this. There's some spider imagery in this. And I won't say much more. Kind of psychological horror almost, edging on that line, but more thriller. Definitely more thriller, less horror. Really, really good movie. I wish this would get on the Criterion Collection. I would buy it in a heartbeat. Enemy. Really cool cover, too. For just like a standard Blu-ray. Jake Gyllenhaal is great. And Jake Gyllenhaal as well is amazing. Forrest Gump. Another one of the ones that I used to own on the little PlayStation portable discs, and I'd watch constantly. I haven't taken this out of the wrapping yet. Probably haven't seen it in a couple years. But, you know, it's just one of the greatest kind of classic movies. I don't know. It's so much fun to watch. Never really gets old. Lieutenant Dan. Life's like a box of chocolates. It's true. And the Vietnam stuff in that is so freaking crazy. A lot of stuff in Forrest Gump is kind of underrated, but anyway. Okay, The Gentleman, Guy Ritchie. I love this movie. I saw it in theaters when it first came out, and it's a lot of fun. The one thing that really like takes me out is Colin Farrell's like dance team people that he's associated with. Like, everything else really works for me in this movie, especially Hugh Grant. He's crazy, almost unrecognizable. And I love Colin Farrell, but man, the little subplot about his YouTube dancer squad is just annoying to me. Boxers, something like that. I don't know. But fun movie, really fun. I wish I could get like a cut of it with those scenes trimmed out. Like, it kind of wouldn't make sense, but they're kind of integral in the end. But good movie, fun. Get Out. Jordan Peele of Key and Peele fame. Underrated horror movie. Not really underrated. I guess it got the attention it deserved now, but it was a little slept on, I think, for a while. Directorial debut by Jordan Peele. Yeah. And it's amazing. Really inventive, really unique, fun, not too long. It's just kind of the perfect horror movie to throw on and watch with some friends. Nothing too crazy disturbing or anything, you know, it's not gonna like scar you for life, but it's definitely a fun horror film. With some little disturbing imagery, I think, here and there, but mostly just a good, fun watch. Cleverly written. Jordan Peele's amazing. Oh, yes. Green Room. Jeremy Saulnier. This is by the same guy who did Blue Ruin, the revenge story I mentioned earlier. Again, one of my favorite directors working today. Just such weird movies. This one, it has Patrick Stewart as a neo-Nazi. So I don't know if I have to say much more than that. Anton Yelchin, rest in peace, dude. Sad to lose him. But this is a really, really good movie. Dark and gritty. A24. Yeah. It's kind of in the same vein as Blue Ruin, where it gets real dark when it needs to. And the protagonists also don't necessarily succeed to the full extent that like a normal story would have them. So yeah, very cool. I think it's set in the Northwest too, so plus for me. And I think Saulnier's movies are kind of like color themed. Like Blue Ruin has a lot of blue color grading. Green Room has a lot of green color grading and tinting. Kind of a cool way to distinguish your movies. The Goonies. Just picked this one up. Haven't opened it yet. I haven't even watched this in maybe 10 years. But I saw it for $5 on Blu-ray, and I was like, God, I gotta get that. Filmed in the Northwest as well, over in Oregon. Awesome, like, adventure movie from what I remember. I remember watching this at my sister's house when I was a kid. And I'm kind of anxious to rewatch it again, you know? I don't know when I will, quite frankly, but one day. Nice to have it. Goodfellas. What do you mean I'm funny? That's right. God, Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, and Ray Liotta. That's right. It's just such a classic mob movie. Like, it's the mob movie. Like, if I want to watch a mob movie, it's like it's Goodfellas, basically. You know, it's classic. I haven't seen The Irishman yet, but I keep hearing that's sort of similar. You know, a lot of the same people. Sorry, there's some like noise going on out there. I keep like looking out, trying to figure out what it is. Hopefully, it's not picking up on the speaker. But yeah, Goodfellas. My God, if you haven't seen this and you're into like mafia mob movies, please watch it. It's outstanding, and a lot of mob movies have pulled from that, which you'll see. The Hangover, funny. I basically pretend that the first one was the only one that existed because the next two are they take away, I think, from how kind of gold this one was, and it's not like, you know, highbrow humor or anything, but it's a fun watch, like with the family, with friends, whatever. This is just a movie that you can always throw on and enjoy. The tiger in the bathroom, friggin' Mike Tyson punching Zach Galifianakis. Is it Zach Galifianakis out? I'm pretty sure. Or is it Ed Harris? Maybe it's Ed Harris, but yeah. Legendary scenes. Haven't seen it in a little bit. I'll do it eventually again. It's a fun one. And I have a lot of trilogies or like series where I just kind of mentally block later entries in the series out. Hereditary, directorial debut by Ari Aster. Well, I think one of the first A24 movies I saw and like was aware that it was A24. Ari Aster is one of my favorite directors. I keep shouting out these directors. He's brilliant. This movie is brilliant. One of my favorites of recent memory. One of the best horror movies, I'd say. Because it's very psychological. Deals a lot with grief, which Ari Aster has sort of a fetish for, I think. And this really explores that. And there are some shots that are still ingrained in my head from this. I remember the first night after I saw it in theaters, I had a very hard time falling asleep for the first time in a while from a movie, and I loved it. So check out Hereditary, and we'll get to his second movie, which was also good here in a little bit, but Hereditary. Hitman's Bodyguard. It's a fun one. It's pretty dumb. But just another bro movie to watch with your friends if you want to kill some time. I pretty much only got it because, well, when it was $5 and I picked it up, but it takes place largely in Amsterdam, which is one of my more favorite places in the world. So any movie that I can get my hands on that takes place even partially there, I'll normally go for. So, yeah, Hitman's Bodyguard. I wouldn't really recommend this movie. It's way too long. God, it should be like, how long is it? Let's see. 118 minutes. Yeah, it does not need to be nearly 2 hours long. They could trim a lot of fat out of this thing. But, if you want to get it, go for it. I'm not going to tell you it's amazing or anything, though. Hook. There's some funny parts, but it's just not gonna win any awards. Hook. Dustin Hoffman as Hook and Robin Williams as Peter Pan. Oh my God, that's right. Julia Roberts as Tinkerbell. I totally forgot about that. This is another one of those just like childhood, classics. Like I remember watching this as a kid, almost on repeat. So when I saw it for $5, I decided to pick it up. Would I recommend it? This is a nostalgia pick for me, kind of like the Goonies. I wouldn't say rush out and buy Hook, but if you saw it when you were a kid and you're looking to check it out again, why not? It is available. I'll tell you that. Ooh, last one of the stack, and one of my favorite movies of all time, In Bruges. Martin McDonagh movie, rated R, and very much earns the R, I would say, with some dark humor and some graphic violence, but not really much. It's more some intrigue, and just the writing. The writing in this film is incredible. It's It's so funny and witty, clever, and I think I like it in large part because I've been to Bruges a few times. My roommate and I actually stayed in the same hotel that Colin Farrell and Ray Fiennes and them stayed at when they were shooting. So they had like pictures up on the wall that were signed by not only them, but like a bunch of famous actors, I guess, who had stayed there. But really fun, cool hitman story that takes place in Europe. A lot of drinking, a little bit of drug use in there. It's a fun story. Like I said, with hilarious dark comedy. Some really dark comedy in here. But gosh, I love this. And McDonough would go on to do, I think, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, which was also good. But I think just having been to Bruges, this one hits really, really hard to me. I love this movie. This is also definitely in like my top 10 films. I could talk about that one alone for an hour, and I might do that at some point. Indiana Jones, The Complete Adventures. This comes with all 3 Indiana Jones movies. The entire trilogy, and no more. I'm just joking. It comes with all 4 Indiana Jones movies. I just don't like to acknowledge that the 4th one exists. Yeah, I got it. It was on a reasonable sale, and I love Indiana Jones. I mean, if you haven't seen Indiana Jones, I don't know. I don't think I can help you in that regard, but please do yourself a favor and watch the 3. Amazing, really cool box set too. You know, like the actual interior here. I didn't really show you. It's sort of like a book here. So you like open it up page by page, and it has. So for example, like the first one. Here you go. Indiana Jones. Got like your Raiders here. The disc is like in this little sleeve. So it has like a theme for each one. Kind of cool posters and on the set pictures essentially. Let me get you like a much closer up picture. There you go. Raiders. Temple, and Last Crusade. And that's all. Indiana Jones. Probably the best, one of the best action series, like, ever. It's just, I mean, Harrison Ford's amazing. Spielberg at the peak of his powers. You get a lot of bang for your buck out of the PG rating on the first 2, especially 2. I believe Temple of Doom is like partially responsible for the creation of like the PG-13 rating, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, there's some stuff in that. You know, there's some eating of monkey brains. There's the pulling out of a beating heart while a person is still dying but alive. It's crazy that it was rated PG. Absolutely insane. Watch Indiana Jones for sure. Inception, another Christopher Nolan. This was kind of his first like really big, high concept endeavor, if I remember right. This is a really cool project. I remember seeing this in theaters when it first came out. I was pretty young, kind of in my like teen years, and I was at the perfect age. Like it was one of the first movies I remember being so enthralled with that after I saw it, I just wanted to go immediately back into the theater and watch it again. And I think I did. I saw it like 3 or 4 times in theaters, just like I did with Tenet. But Inception. And you might have noticed some of these have like these interesting covers. Like I think on the inside it should be just the standard Blu-ray. Yeah. But these were all like part of a set that I think Walmart was doing at the time. They were all $5. And they came in these like weird cases that have like something iconic from the movie on the front and then a quote. I couldn't read it backwards on there, so yeah, you must be afraid of the dream loader. True, this movie's about dreams. Kind of continues Christopher Nolan's obsession with, time and dreams and high concept stuff like that he would go on to really fully embrace in Tenet. So, Inception, really cool movie. About infiltrating, like a spy thriller where the spies can infiltrate your dreams, essentially, and subconsciously plant or extract information from your subconscious, depending on what they're being paid to do. So, very cool movie. If you haven't seen it, I mean, I just hopefully that sold you on it. Watch Inception if you haven't seen it. Great performances. Leo DiCaprio is amazing. Inglourious Bastards, another Quentin Tarantino movie. My favorite of his. Very close with Pulp Fiction, but this, again, with the Europe stuff, I'm a sucker for it. So this is mostly in German, I believe. I lived in Germany for a little while, picked up ein bisschen Deutsch, nicht so viel, aber ein bisschen. And I love that Tarantino put most of this in German, and also French too. I believe there's a lot more like German and French in this than there is English, which is really cool for a like big American movie, you know. And I mean, God, Brad Pitt's a Nazi killer, Aldo Rain, and you got Christoph Waltz, probably his best performance of all time as the SS officer Hans Landa. And God, yeah, great performances all around. Really bloody Tarantino style, you know. Lots of Nazi killing in this, which is awesome. So check out Inglourious Bastards if you haven't seen it. Another one that's really high up there for me. There's a dinner scene in like a Ratskeller, I think, in like a cellar bar anyways, towards the end of this. Oh, it's in France, actually. And the scene is like 15 minutes long or something. It's one of my favorite scenes ever put to film. I wait the whole movie for that scene to come up and the wrong 3 to be dropped. So it's awesome. Just watch that movie. It Comes at Night, A24 movie. A lot of memes about the title. Misdirecting title, perhaps, and also definitely misdirecting promotional stuff for this. Like, don't watch the trailers for this. If you're gonna watch this, it's a horror movie, you know. I mean, but not like it's not like a typical horror movie. Like, as with a lot of A24 movies, this is more cerebral and more of a character study. Watching how these characters deal with this maybe virus outbreak that's happening. It's not even clear what's happened to the world, but some, as they say in The Gentleman, there's fuckery afoot. So check this out. Oh yes, Jason Bourne, the 4th installation of the Bourne franchise. Actually, technically not, but what I consider the 4th. It's good, you know. It finally kind of recaptures that same vein of the original trilogy. It's more of basically the exact same. Is it Paul Greengrass? Not seeing if it's Greengrass. I think it is. Yeah. Yeah, it is. That's right. Vincent Cassel's in this as well. Vincent Cassel, who was in Lane. One of his earlier roles. That one's probably his best, but check it out. It's a fun one. If you like the Bourne trilogy, and you're looking for a little bit more, you know, go for it. You know, but it's not gonna. If you haven't seen Bourne or you don't care about that kind of stuff, you're not gonna care for this at all. So there you go. I'm the Joker, baby. This is the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. This is a gift from my uncle, I believe. And yeah, it's a good movie. You know, it's not like I didn't like it as much as like people seem to when it came out. But you know, I'm happy to own it. It's $32. I would never have paid that for this. Sorry guys, but wow, that's insane. Still, decent movie. You know, if you're into the Joker, you want to see a different interpretation of his character, check that one out for sure. Oh, okay. Alright. Jurassic Park. Haven't taken it out of the wrapping yet. I've seen this, you know, probably 4 times, 5 times. It's classic. Oh, getting a call here. Let me mute that. Absolutely classic movie. If you haven't seen OG Jurassic Park, you need to do that immediately. It is one of the best, the best dinosaur movie probably ever put on camera. Jeff Goldblum's amazing. Just awesome dinosaur effects, practical effects, and some CGI, but CGI used like sparingly, and it really holds up. So much has been borrowed from this movie too. Like, this is the only one that I have out of all the Jurassic Park movies that have been released, but this is also just kind of the one that I think it is Jurassic Park when I think about Jurassic Park. So there it is. I'll rewatch it at some point. Okay. The Kill Team, another A24. It's a war movie, which is kind of interesting for A24. I don't remember if it's Afghanistan or Iraq. Let's see. Afghanistan, yeah. Excuse me. I got COVID there, apparently. Invasion of Afghanistan, Nat Wolff, Alexander Skarsgård, is that who it is? Yep, Alexander Skarsgård. They're both really good. Good performances, really cool cinematography. I mean, it's an A24 take on a war film. So if you like A24 and their kind of typical dark takes, this is a good one. And I believe it's based on a true story, which has some interesting outcomes. So, Kill Team. Cool one. One for the books. Kingsman, The Secret Service. This is the Epic Premium Edition here, which I got because they had like the standard edition for like $9, I think, and then this was like $10 or $11. So, and it came with like a cool book of the artwork and some extra features. They had another version that came with the second film, but I never saw the second one. I don't honestly care to, if I'm being honest. This is kind of like a perfect movie to me. Not perfect, but like it's a perfect beginning to end story. Like, it doesn't need more, you know? I didn't need a second one. It's a great encapsulated story that I enjoy for what it is. Colin Firth is awesome in this. There's a scene where he kills like 100 people in a church, which sounds insane, but they're basically under mind control to fight back, or well, to be the aggressors, I guess. So he's technically defending himself, but insane scene. It's worth like the whole cost of the movie. And Samuel L. Jackson is insane in this as well. The lisp that he has is crazy. So check that one out if you get the chance. And I wish I had a little bit more to drink here. Got that cough. Something like welling up in my throat here. It's the first time I've talked for like almost an hour and a half here in quite a while. Okay, we're almost onto the last pile here though, so let's keep going. Lady Bird. Another A24 movie. I have a lot of A24 films because I find them interesting. This one is no exception. I love Saoirse Ronan, Irish actor. And it's a coming of age story. It's very sweet. Definitely one of the most like happy and lighthearted A24 films I've seen. There's definitely moments of raw emotion and sadness in here, but very optimistic movie overall, I'd say, and sweet, and just a really fun watch. Like, this would be a good family movie, I feel like, especially if you're trying to like get your family into like something that's accessible but that still has those like interesting film niches, you know, that not just like lowest common denominator stuff. This is a really cool movie maybe to show your family. The football coach at their school who's brought in to direct the play when the main director of the play for the school can't be there. This football coach is hilarious. The way that he runs, organizing the play and running the play. One of the best parts of the movie. Check it out. Leon, the Professional. Luc Besson film, the guy who did Fifth Element, which is also awesome. It's one I need to add to my collection. Jean Reno. I don't exactly know if I'm saying that right, but he's awesome. I've seen him in some other things. This is probably his best role in my mind. He is Leon to me. And you had Gary Oldman being crazy. That's right. Everyone! If you've seen that movie, or this movie, you know that. That line. Otherwise, I just sound like a crazy person. And you got a very young Natalie Portman. I don't know if you can tell there. She's got to be like, gosh, I don't even know. Maybe like, 13, 14 there? Yeah. Maybe even younger. But Leon is a hitman who kind of teaches young Natalie Portman the tricks of the trade, the tools of the craft, essentially, reluctantly. But really cool movie. Luc Besson's awesome. French. It's an American movie, I think, technically, but French director. Or is it no, maybe it is a French movie. Printed in USA. I don't know. I have to do some more research. The Lighthouse, a favorite movie of 2019, I think is when this came out. Robert Eggers, his second movie. We'll be getting to his first one later on down the line. This one surpasses The Witch, which was his first film in my mind. Great, legendary performances by both Pattinson and Dafoe in this. I mean, my God, especially Dafoe. Well, I mean, they're both up there, but there's a soliloquy that Dafoe delivers in this that's it's I don't even know what to say about this movie, honestly, about any of that. And there's a scene with Robert Pattinson and a seagull that's awesome. And this movie ends. It's such a dark, twisted ride the whole way through. And the aspect ratio, the black and white is gorgeous. The sound of the foghorn. These two guys isolated, going crazy on the island. Some Lovecraftian horror in there. Some like allusions to Greek mythology, mermaids potentially. This is a friggin' awesome movie. Please watch this if you haven't seen it. The Lighthouse. Eggers is a master. This is kind of funny. The very first Lord of the Rings. What is it called? Oh God, forgot. Fellowship of the Ring. That's right. They got this in that same set where they were like all $5 for like recognizable movies. I kind of wish I wouldn't have got this just because I want to get like the trilogy, you know. But I mean, it was $5, and I was like, yeah, I'll take Lord of the Rings. Why not? I haven't seen it in a little while, but I've probably seen it like 3 times or so, maybe more. Legendary movie. You know, the trilogy is great. I don't know what's more to say about Lord of the Rings that hasn't been said already by a million people and better than me. Mad Max Fury Road, the latest installment in the Mad Max series coming out of Australia. I believe there was like a 40-year time gap or 30-year time gap, something like that, maybe 20-something. I always overestimate it at first, but time gap between the last Mad Max movie and this one. And what's the director's name? Yeah, George Miller, which is like, we're making a new Mad Max. Got Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron. Amazing performances. It's awesome. And really beautiful. Like, gorgeous. The action sequences are impeccable. Cinematography is cool. It's worth the watch. The Martian. Ridley Scott joint. I have not. I saw it like when it first came out. I think I don't even remember finishing it. And then I'm loaning this out from my uncle again to watch it at some point. But yeah, haven't seen it. I don't have much to say about it. It was interesting, but not gonna write a screen or like a video essay about it. Excuse me, wow. I can really feel the toll that this hour and a half of talking is taking. It's interesting. So yeah, moving on. The Matrix. The OG Matrix. I just picked it up on Blu-ray. It was another $5 selection there at Walmart, which I was stoked to see. I love this one, the first one. It's kind of another one of those series that the first one is like the series to me. I just like to take the first Matrix by itself. Great movie. I remember watching this when I was probably way too young to watch it, and it left a big impact on me. So it's not like one of my favorite movies of all time or anything, but if you haven't seen it by now, maybe watch it eventually. It's a good one. It's very influential. Very, 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 very influential, especially with like some of the bullet time stuff where time slows down and the dodging of bullets and all that stuff. Good one. Returning to Ari Aster here with Midsummer. I know the M and I are blocked there. Same guy who did Hereditary, which I like a little more than this. Let me see if I can line this up like right on the edge of the screen. There we go. Anyway, satisfying. Great performances in this. I love this movie. It's very different than Hereditary. Still deals with grief a lot and relationships, but very different. Very different movie. Creeps me out about Swedish people, I guess, is the thing. And I have Danish friends and I have Icelandic friends who, when I bring this up, they terrify me now because of this movie. They just laugh in response, which is not a good response. It's terrifying. But no, good movie. Check it out if you haven't already. If you like kind of horror, then I almost don't want to call this horror. It definitely is, but it's more psychological and just terror. It's weird. There's nothing there's no monster or scary creature or something like that. Kind of like Hereditary for most of it. But yeah, it's just more about people and character studies and emotions and the sick stuff that people can do too, which is always a big theme these days. Mud. I saw this once, and I don't remember really anything about it. It was another one of those guys that I found for $4 at a little shop in Seattle. And I was like, yeah, I've seen that. I'll add it to the shelf. So, there it is. Apparently, it's certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, so I will tell you that. And last but not least for this stack, No Country for Old Men. Amazing movie. Amazing. This is the Coen brothers, maybe at their best, definitely at their darkest, I think. And like I said way earlier, talking about Blood Simple, that was kind of the beginning of what they would come to do. This is the culmination. This is peak Coen brothers in my mind. Anton Chigurh, played by Javier Bardem, this dude, creepy as hell on the front. He is just such a creepy, interesting character. And it's based on a book by, I'm blanking on Cormac McCarthy, same guy who wrote The Road, which was, I loved The Road, and All the Pretty Horses, I believe. But yeah, modern Western with a crime tinge. And my God, it's amazing. Josh Brolin, maybe his best performance ever. One of them. Just absolutely incredible. Check this out, please, if you have not seen it. On to the last pile, folks. Wish I had another drink here to clear the throat, but we'll power through. The Oceans Trilogy, Oceans 11, 12, and 13, conveniently on, not on one disc, but in one box here. Comes with 3 of them. 11 is really, 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 really solid. One of the best heist movies ever, in my opinion. I love it. I could watch it on repeat. I ran a D&D heist campaign and watched Oceans 11 maybe twice, kind of just in prep, kind of getting the tone down that I was going to be aiming for. 12 is universally acknowledged to not be as good, and it's not, but again, they go to Amsterdam in it, so I watched that scene from time to time. And Vincent Cassel is in this as well, same guy from La Haine. And then 13 is, not bad. But, I mean, they really don't ever recapture the magic that is this guy right here, Ocean's 11. I mean, good God. George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon. I mean, it's amazing. If you haven't seen these guys, watch them. Quintessential heist movies. At least Ocean's 11, If you watch Ocean's 11, if you really like it, watch, or even if you like it, watch the others. If you didn't like it, then obviously don't. Or do what you want, I'm just here giving you advice. Overlord. Produced by J.J. Abrams. Don't even know who the director is. It's funny. Julius Avery, that's right. Really cool World War II movie with a big horror twist. But what I really like about it is it's like very... it plays its cards very close to its chest for like the first almost hour or so, it feels like. It opens with very intense, just straight warfare stuff. And then eventually, when it takes its left turn, it takes a hard left turn. Like a fucking 180 at least, but more like a 720. Great movie. Cool actors, cool performances. I shouldn't say it's a great movie. It has its flaws for sure, but fun movie. Another one of those that's just like, watch with the guys or whatever, when you don't want to have to really be involved with the film. It's just a fun watch. So check it out if you get the chance. It's worth it. Pulp Fiction, one of the best Tarantinos, arguably the best Tarantino. I mean, good God, John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Uma Thurman, Harvey Keitel, Bruce Willis, Christopher Walken. I mean, good God, you got an all-star cast, really establishing his style. Tarantino coming into his own. A lot of cool manipulation of time, too. It's a non-linear narrative. And, some kind of harsh, disturbing scenes in this, for sure, but also some really fun ones, some lighthearted, some really funny stuff, It's a movie unlike any other. There's a reason that it's, a cult classic. So, gotta see Pulp Fiction if you haven't seen it. What else is there to say? Rounders with Ed Norton and Matt Damon. Great poker movie. If you like cards, like I said, I got some card movies. Ocean's 11 stuff too. Kind of falls in there, but more heist for sure. Rounders is a great card movie. Maybe one of the best card movies. Poker, that kind of stuff. Check it out if you're into that. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Perhaps my favorite Edgar Wright movie. Definitely up there. Based on the graphic novel series. It's really funny. Perfect choice to have Edgar Wright do this because the comic book style with the pop-up, dramatized action and costumes and all that. He just does it so perfectly, and his editing style is so funny. Feels like there's a joke every 5 minutes that land, 5 seconds that lands in this. It's like rapid fire, which he's known for. Awesome movie. And Mary Elizabeth Winstead, you're my dream crush in this movie. Obviously, Ramona Flowers. What else is there to say about that? Shaun of the Dead, another Edgar Wright. That's kind of funny, right next to each other, alphabetically. Just picked this one up, haven't taken it out of the wrapping yet. I've seen it a couple times in the past. It's awesome. I mean, I love Edgar Wright. His editing style, his humor, his writing, everything is just so funny. And this is a great take, funny take on the zombie genre. I just love British humor, and this is Shockful. It's a British humor mixed with zombie movie flick. So, I mean, helmed by Edgar Wright, so you cannot go wrong. Shaun of the Dead, probably the best. Hot Fuzz is really good too. I'm gonna say the best of the Cornetto trilogy, but it's up there. Definitely worth a watch. The Shining, Stanley Kubrick, Jack Torrance on the front there, portrayed by none other than Jack Nicholson. Great movie. I mean, I haven't taken this one out of the wrapping yet because I'm not in any rush to rewatch it. I've seen it several times. it's a good one. It's a classic, obviously. You know, there's a reason it's so famous. The scene right here where he sticks his face through is like everyone knows that image, I feel like. And a lot of the exterior shots, cool enough, were taken at the Timberline Lodge, kind of close to where I live, on Mount Hood, Oregon. Very cool, very like classic horror movie. It's like one of those must-owns, I feel like. Zacario, another Denis Villeneuve, yeah, I believe, right? Yeah, Denis Villeneuve, as Your Movie Sucks says. Awesome movie. One of my more favorite Villeneuve's, I think. It's it's action-packed, but in a tasteful and artistically shot way. I mean, you got, is it Lubezki on this? No, it's Deakins again, that's right. Roger Deakins made this movie look so gorgeous. It's insane. I mean, the border scene is crazy in this. The opening scene is crazy. The border crossing scene is amazing. There's some of the prettiest shots of just natural sky, like the light from the sky, and the end. Crazy. This movie's a ride all the way through. Please watch this if you haven't seen it. Zacario. Skyfall. On loan from the uncle. It's Ralph Fiennes. That's right. I forgot he was in these. This is not his newest one, but it's like kind of one of the newer ones. I didn't care for this one so much, even though this is probably the most beautifully shot of the new Bond movies, and I think that's mostly due to Deakins again, right? Let's see. It's a Sam Mendes movie. Yep, Roger Deakins. So Deakins and Lubezki, like the common thread, those two cinematographers, if they're behind the camera, the film's gonna look gorgeous. That's for sure. And this one does. It's no exception. But the story just didn't quite enthrall me. Maybe I should rewatch it. It's been a long time. And it's by Sam Mendes, the same guy who did 1917, the very first of the actual regular Blu-rays that I went through here. There Will Be Blood, another Paul Thomas Anderson. Probably his best movie. Probably. The fact that this isn't on the Criterion Collection is a war crime. Frankly, every member of the Criterion Collection should be tried at The Hague, if it were up to me, because this is not on the collection yet. Every day that passes is a national tragedy when this is not on the Criterion Collection. So, if you're listening, Criterion, come on, what are you doing? This is, no, but all jokes aside, this is, like, just one of the best films ever made. Daniel Day-Lewis is Daniel Plainview. Like, there's nothing more to be said about that. He transforms into this dude. The shots in this are gorgeous. Who is the cinematographer? Let's see. Of course, they made the text really hard. Robert Elswit. I'm not familiar. But the soundtrack to this is incredible as well. Paul Dano is amazing. It's just, man, watch this if you haven't. It is absolutely insane. Like a monumental cinematic achievement, I would say. And Paul Thomas Anderson of Punch Drunk Love fame. Magnolia, I think. The Master. A couple others. Tree of Life. This is also one of the very early Blu-rays that I owned. This is on the Criterion Collection, but it's Terrence Malick, and it's not one of my more favorite Terrence Malick movies. But this was a gift from my roommate. It was one of the first ones that I started collecting because he gave it to me. So this and Y Tu Mama Tambien. And, it's a beautiful movie. There's no denying it. It absolutely is. Good performances. Terrence Malick, he has a style, I feel like, that you either just like go with and love or you just don't. And I'm kind of caught in the middle. Like, sometimes I'm able to just go with it, and sometimes I'm like, okay, let's get to a point here. But still, nonetheless, this is a really good movie, I think. It's beautiful. Watch it for that, if nothing else. I mean, not a huge narrative line here. Mostly just kind of, if I remember right, anyways, mostly just imagery that stuck with me. Yeah, very powerful imagery in this, and it kind of jumps through all time, essentially, showing our past and future and whatnot, and present. Yeah, anyway, it's a good one. Watch it, for sure. Tree of Life, Terrence Malick. True Grit by the Coen Brothers. Big Lebowski, No Country for Old Men, all that stuff. I won't keep repeating myself. You got Jeff Bridges, Matt Damon, and Josh Brolin in this. They're all awesome. Jeff Bridges' accent is insane. Rooster Cogburn, is that his name? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, been a bit since I've seen this, but I will rewatch it. It's a really, really fun watch. Coen Brothers and Westerns just go hand in hand. Uncut Gems. Really cool box on this one. Another A24 movie. This is by the Safdie brothers, who did Good Time, which actually... So I saw Good Time before this, and then when I saw this, I was like, oh, I like Uncut Gems so much more than Good Time. Then I went back after kind of getting a little more familiar with the Safdie brothers, rewatched Good Time, and then rewatched this. Now I like Good Time a lot more. I mean, this is still a really good movie. It's one of Adam Sandler's better performances for sure. One of his few, dramatic performances. Really good one. Really, tense. The Safdies are really good at making, you just be on the edge of your seat throughout, essentially, biting your fingernails. The Weeknd, the musician, is in this, kind of briefly, but still. Kevin Garnett, the basketball player, plays, a pretty key role. Good movie, very stressful. Don't watch it if you're prone to, I don't know, heart attacks or something like that, or at risk. Yeah, heart attack, epilepsy, that kind of stuff, I guess. Whatever. Under the Skin. I think this is A24. Yeah, another A24 movie. The first A24 movie I think I ever saw. I saw this way back in the day before I knew what A24 was. Very disturbing. Very beautiful. Scarlett Johansson's maybe best performance. It's up there. I love it. Very dark. One of the coolest alien movies that I've ever seen. And it takes place in Scotland, which is cool. A lot of the people didn't know that they were being filmed, from what I understand. So, and some really disturbing imagery in this. Really, really, really disturbing, but great and beautiful. Watch it. Vacation, it's one of those that I saw a lot as a kid, and it was on the $5 shelf, so I picked it up. Not a Palme d'Or winner as well. It's not going to rout at Sundance, but I like it. Watchmen, director's cut. Haven't actually watched this yet on Blu-ray, but I've seen the movie several times. I love the graphic novel V for Vendetta by the same author, Alan Moore, so I'm kind of an Alan Moore fanboy in a sense, but Watchmen is really, really good. As is the case with both, I think, V for Vendetta and Watchmen, the books are better, which is kind of always the case. Although V for Vendetta did a really good job. The Wachowskis? I can't remember who directed that, but that movie did a pretty dang good job with that book, even though Alan Moore kind of disowned it. But wow, getting down to the last 5 here, folks. So let's finish this up. Waterworld, Kevin Costner. You already know. You already love it. Not really. This is kind of a famously bad movie. But at the same time, I love it. I love Kevin Costner. I think he's hilarious. And this was like $5 at the local Walmart. So, you know what? I love Waterworld. I'd love to live there for a brief stint. But, yeah, not a great movie. If you're looking for something to watch with the friends and have a little bit of alcohol involved, that's a good one. The Witch, or The Witch by Robert Eggers, same guy who would go on to do The Lighthouse. He and Ari Aster both have movies out on A24. both have 2 films, and they're both kind of sort of comparable. You know, they're in that horror niche, but I think Eggers is a little... I mean, I give my nod to Eggers a little more, but I like them both as directors. This is a fantastic movie, fantastic period piece with extreme horror elements. Black Phillip is terrifying. Wolf, I heard Chris Stuckmann talk about this one, might put in a reference to that as well. Haven't seen it. Jack Nicholson, on loan from the uncle. I saw he had it and had to check it out, so I will. What We Do in the Shadows, Taika Waititi. Very, very funny. Very, very funny movie. It's a Kiwi, so set in New Zealand, vampire mockumentary. So a documentary crew goes to live with like several vampire roommates here. You can see they all live together in this apartment, and the documentary crew just kind of films what happens, and it's glorious. Taika Waititi is amazing, so funny. Stars in the movie as well, and he just did Jojo Rabbit recently, which was also great. Folks, we're on our last one here. I'm at the end of my documentation after nearly 2 hours here. If you stuck all the way through this, you're kind of a freak, but thank you very much. The last Blu-ray I have in my collection is Yesterday by Danny Boyle, who's done... He has a really interesting filmography with, like, I think 28 Days Later and 127 Hours and Slumdog Millionaire, but it was kind of a cool premise. Everyone in the world forgets that the Beatles existed, except for this guy, this musician, who's kind of young and struggling, which I've been there before. I've dabbled in music, so I could relate to that aspect. And he's a huge Beatles fan. He remembers them. Everyone else forgets, and he essentially reprises some of their songs and takes on a lot of their success eventually, but struggles with whether he's really earned that success since they're not technically his songs. Really fun one, good one to watch, and I recommend it. So hey, hopefully if you watched this, you found a couple recommendations or something to agree with anyways. Thanks for watching, and I'm signing out. This has been my first Blu-ray collection, November 2020. Bye-bye.